Sony! Welcome back to another GMod style physics video, physics sandbox. This time I've got quite a lot of work done on this one. Here's the new menu. It's a giant tablet that appears in-game. Now this game itself is completely native VR compatible, so I've built the menu so that it's 3D and in the game. This tablet you can move around, you can just tap it open whenever you want to, and if you hold it open it'll move with you, and you've got that cursor on the screen as well. I've added the grapple hook here, which works very differently to what you usually see in games, where the grapple hook itself doesn't just pull you inwards. Yeah, we've got a very weird physics problem going on here with very sort of thin colliders. Anything that's very thin can fall through the ground a lot. So yeah, that's just a problem with Unity. I'm going to do a lot of setting changes and whatnot, tweaks here, there, everywhere, and hopefully that'll fix the problem to some extent. Beyond that, everything, all of the models here, all of the objects that are being added, all of the props, they're all coming from external files. None of them are actually part of the game. You can set the buoyancy, you can set the mass of the objects, you can specify the shine and the way the material acts. Everything is coming from external files. A simple ini file that tells all the settings for the objects, for the props, and a OBJ file for the actual mesh, a JPEG for the textures. I am going to extend that. It's going to be possible to actually use other texture files, other model files, hopefully, if I can get some good 3D model parsers for Unity. Beyond that, right here I'll probably show off some of the tools. So you can see with the physics gun that you can actually lift objects and freeze them in the air. You can rotate them, but it doesn't stop the camera from moving, so you can see me going up and down, shaking my head a bit in game. I'm not currently playing in VR mode, but I will show you later on in the video that I've got it running in VR properly as well. I've added Locomotion as well, my Locomotion system. If you haven't seen that working in play yet, and you haven't seen the videos that I've done on Locomotion, check them out on my channel, because you're probably gonna love how the Locomotion is working now in VR. I haven't got my hand controllers yet working in Steam VR. I've been working on that. If you look at the Twitter feed, you can see that I'm using PS Move controllers now because I don't have the money to buy a Vive. And here you can see I'm just showing off the joints in the game. So I click on the wheel that I've spawned, and I click on the vending machine that's supposed to show Coca-Cola on it, which is I'm not sponsored or anything like that. I just chose a random picture from the net, and unfortunately it's coming out sort of flipped over, so it doesn't say Coca-Cola, it says it the wrong way around. Anyways, there you go. I added the axis joints to these wheels onto the vending machine, and you can see it just naturally works as it would in GMod as well. This is all completely done from scratch. I haven't even been working on this for a month yet. All of the models in the world as well I've built myself, so that sort of central brick building over there, I didn't rip that from GMod, I just remade it myself, and I added this pool of water here to test the buoyancy and test the underwater physics as well. Here I'm just going to play around with the grappling hook a little bit more, and you can see that it doesn't naturally pull you in. There is a reel button which allows you to sort of elastic pull in, but unlike all of the other games that you see with grappling hooks, I just didn't want it to have that elastic feel where you shoot where you want to go. Instead you have to swing very much like Spider-Man, rather, because it's just more fun this way. And this is all completely VR compatible. You can see that it attaches the anchor point of the actual rope to the grappling hook itself, not to the character. So if you move the grapple hook back, it pulls the character in. So that will work very well once I get my hand controllers working. You'd be able to literally shoot forward, move your hand back and pull your actual character body forward without any of that fake stuff where you're sort of pulling through the elasticness of the rope itself. So I'm switching over to another video here. So here I'll just be showing off some of the actual web swinging, rope swinging should I call it, because you're not really using webs, but obviously the idea comes from Spider-Man. I mean, come on, it's the best thing ever. If you can make a VR Spider-Man where you can actually swing rather than just pulling in, then do so. So I did, and I added it to a GMod sandbox. Well, GMod style sandbox. This is not GMod, this is my own version of something, of it. Anyways, you can see here that you actually can swing around using this. It's all completely physics. The rope itself is a physics jointed to the character with an anchor point at the gun, so the gun can actually control where that rope is going. So you can actually use the directional buttons, the analog sticks and whatnot, to move around while in air, and that coupled with the reel button on the grappling hook itself allows you to really sort of maneuver yourself in air. I like to do so without using those buttons and without using the actual reel button, literally just the camera movement and the gun movement to control the direction of my movement in air. So what I'll show now is the actual VR movement system. So again, we've got the usual locomotion system that I've been working on, Locomotion. Again, if you haven't seen those videos, have a look on the rest of the channel. I'm just going to jump off the building. This is in VR now. The buildings are accurate sized in game, so you can see how small that brick wall building over there is in the distance. I'll jump off this building and start swinging in VR. Now obviously here I don't have the hand controllers, so I'm using my head to point the target. I am rotating with the controls as well, just sort of rotating the character body, but the head is what the gun aims at, so the actual head point. You can see here that it does have that feel of movement. A lot of people are probably going to be asking, what about motion sickness? How does this play out with motion sickness? Well, I'm just going to say what I usually say. Basically, get used to motion sickness. It just wears off over time. I've been building these games. As a developer, and along with other developers who make VR games, we kind of get used to the motion sickness pretty damn quick. You can do it, trust me, it just happens over time, and it'll really help you to play these games. The motion sickness is crazy when you're swinging on that grappling hook, so you're probably best off just sort of trying to get used to motion sickness first, and then trying to play with the grappling hook and web swinging like Spider-Man. Anyways, goodbye!